Loud. Shame. Daf Chof Aleph. V'yesh schus teila gimel shanim chulu. As the Gemara, there is a schus that postpones the punishment for 3 years. Says the Gemara, schus. What kind of a schus is going to help this woman? Schus of what? If you want to tell me schus of Torah that she learns Torah, she has no mitzvah to learn Torah. So if she learns Torah, she's eina mitzvah v'isa, and an eina mitzvah v'isa doesn't get the kind of schar that a mitzvah v'isa gets. So it's hard to say that would be the schus that we're referring to that would save her from this punishment. The schus of mitzvah must be the schus of mitzvah. Schus of mitzvah saves her. Back to Gemara, schus the mitzvah mi magna kulahai. Does the schus of a mitzvah protect the person so much that it'll help her to get away from this punishment which she deserves, mitzad the fact mitzad what she did? Tanya didn't mean in the Braisa. The following interpretation was given by Mנחem bar Yossi. Says in the mitzvah, it says in the pasuk, "Kiner mitzvah v'Torah a mitzvah is like a candle, and Torah is like light." Told us a pasuk of mitzvah v'neir. That's how Torah. So the pasuk compares a mitzvah to a candle, which burns only temporarily. You only have temporary light from a candle. That's how Torah, and compares the Torah to light, which Pashtus means the light of the sun, which illuminates for the whole time. So a mitzvah, a mitzvah is compared to a neir, to a candle. To tell you, just like a candle, only temporarily. So a mitzvah only protects you temporarily, which means as long as you're doing the mitzvah protects you, but it doesn't have a long-lasting effect. Torah is compared to the light of the sun. To tell you, just like the sun lasts, it protects you for always. So the Torah protects you for always. And it says in the pasuk, when you're on your way, it will lead you. Etc. When you're on your way, it will lead you. That refers to this world. When you lie down, it will look after you, will protect you, it will guard you. Zumisa. That means that even when the person dies, the Torah that he learned during his lifetime protects him. When you wake up, that will be what you will talk about. Is la'asid lava. In the future, when you wake up for Tchias HaMeisim, the Torah will be there for you as well. So when you learn Torah in this world, the Torah has a long-lasting effect. It affects you while you're alive. It affects you when you pass away. And it affects you positively even after Tchias HaMeisim. This could be understood better with a mashal of a person who's walking in the thickness of night, in the darkness of night, in thick darkness. Now he has a number of problems. One thing he has a problem is menakaitzim. He's afraid of thorns. From the ditches in the road. Somebody have a translation for barkonim?
Yes, thistles.
What is it? Thistles. Okay.
Thistles, it says.
Thistles.
Thorns, yeah.
I'm not sure why they're not.
Thorns, crevices, and thistles.
I'm not sure why the barkonim are not put together with the kaitzim. Thorns are similar to thistles. No, akasha and he's also worried about wild beasts. Umin halistim, and from armed robbers. He has another problem. He doesn't know if he's going the right direction. If he comes across a torch of fire, he can see now. So he's been spared now from the thorns and from the ditches and from the thistles. But he still is to be afraid of wild beasts because the torch is not going to protect him from wild beasts. And from armed robbers, they can still come along. And plus he has a problem. He doesn't know whether he's going the right way. When the morning star rises, it begins to become light. Nitzel Mechayeros, and now he's spared from wild beasts who roam in the night. Menalistim, and from armed robbers that roam in the night. Avadayin and
Still doesn't know where he's going. Yeah.
Sorry?
Yeah, he still doesn't know where he's going.
But he still doesn't know if he's going the right way. If he comes to a crossroad, and by a crossroad, the pashtas, there are signs saying which way is which. Nitzel mikulam. So all his problems are solved. Similarly, Torah is compared to Amud HaShachar, the day. As we said before, Torah. So when a person learns Torah, the Torah will save him from sin and from suffering. But he still doesn't know, maybe the Yetzer Hara is going to be able to convince him to sin. And that will bring on him sin and punishment. But when he comes to the crossroads, which means he reaches the day of death, and he's stayed on the straight and narrow the whole time, then he knows that he's safe. Another pshat. Aveda mechabe mitzvah vein aveda mechabe Torah. An aveda can extinguish what a mitzvah achieves, but an aveda cannot extinguish what Torah achieves. So now, as it says, even great waters cannot extinguish the love. So obviously, we're explaining the ava to be limud Torah, and the mayim rabim refers to avedus. So what the schar of Torah, even an aveda cannot wash away. So what do we see from here? We see that in schar of mitzvah is not enough to protect you, because an aveda can extinguish a mitzvah. So if this woman did the aveda of being mezaneh, the fact that she did mitzvahs is not going to help her, spare her from the punishment of the Satan. So you have to say that it must be the schar of Torah. But a woman doesn't have a mitzvah to learn Torah. Amar Rav Yosef. So Rav Yosef said like this: Mitzvah be'idne de asikba magina umatzla. A mitzvah, while you're doing the mitzvah, it protects you from sin and it saves you from suffering. Be'idne de lay asikba, after you've done the mitzvah, we're no longer involved in it. Aguna magna, it protects you from sin. The schos of the mitzvah, is that the, or let me just see which is Aguna magna.
Ala isurin harbe.
So it saves you from suffering. Atzula le matzla, but it doesn't save you from sin. Is that the way it works?
Yeah, it doesn't save you from punishment, but it saves you from punishment, but it doesn't save you from sinning.
From sin, right. The Torah is compared to Oyer, which lasts forever, because Bein B'idna the Asikba, Bein B'idna the Le Asikba, both the time that you're learning Torah and the time that you're not learning Torah. Magino Matzla does two things for you. It saves you from suffering, and it also helps protect you from sin. So that's what he meant when he said that Torah is compared to Oyer and mitzvah is compared to Ne'er. However, the mitzvah can still protect you from suffering, and that's the answer to our question about the Soita, that the schus of mitzvah will protect her from the suffering that she would have received had the waters have worked immediately. Ask if Rabbi asks a question, asks a kasha on this interpretation. And he says, Elameyata, that's the case. They were big Talmidei Chachamim. They were engaged in Torah. They were people that caused a lot of trouble for David HaMelech. Why didn't the Torah that they learned protect them? Why didn't the Torah that they learned protect them? They were punished quite severely for their actions. Or why didn't it protect them from the Yetzer Hara? Why didn't it protect them from the Yetzer Hara? How did they become such terrible Rishoyim when they were such a big Talmidei Chachamim? Ela Rava, so therefore Rava adjusts.
But we see in the lashon of the Gemara till now.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yetzer Hara, no? So here it says Amaylo Magigino, which sounds it's the lashon for you.
Looking at the Rashi, Amayle Togin Aleihem, V'Yetzer Hara, She'echtia Masam Rishon Gemuri. Fleimer Amayle Tatzileu Min HaAveris. You see the Rashi?
Yeah, I see the Rashi, but okay, it was a different lashon. It says lo tagin alei, and the Gemara said aman lo higino alayu. So I thought it was a different Rashi.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, mine.
Hello, my Rabbi. So
regardless, that doesn't for Emperor why he changes the lashon. We said before, Maginu Matzla is from.
I guess it's to keep you on your toes that you should use Rashi. I don't know. Good question. Hello, so Rabbi said it actually works like this. When you're engaged in it, it protects you from punishment, protects you from avedus. When you're not learning Torah, it protects you from Yitzurim, but it doesn't save you from avedus. So that we're ready for the Shaila of Deig and Achisayfel, that while they were not learning Torah, they fell into the trap of their avedus. But a mitzvah, a mitzvah, say when you're being Isaac in it, say when you're not being Isaac, it only protects you from Guna Magna, we said, is protecting you from avedus. Atzula le'matzla. But it
not
does
from avedus. Protecting you from punishment.
Yeah.
Protecting you from punishment. And atzula le'matzla, but it doesn't save you from avedus.
From avedus.
Yeah, and that's why. Look, so this was still for the shaila of Soita, because it's talking the schus of mitzvah, and the mitzvah, bein beidin the asikba, bein beidin the loy asikba, will protect you from yisurim. So therefore, it could be the schus of mitzvah. Ravina disagrees.
Which, according to this answer, according to this answer, when he's not oisek, Torah mitzvah is exactly the same thing.
Yeah. Ravina says, let's go back to what we learned originally, that the schus of a mitzvah only works b'shas ma'aseh, it doesn't work for later at all. So therefore we have a kasha on the Soita, how could the schus of mitzvah help her? In fact, it doesn't help her. And therefore what does help her is schus Torah. With the ta'amrit, eine mitzvah v'esa. I does the kasha, l'chayra, she's not commanded to learn Torah, how could the schar of Torah be so strong? Is the teretz is although she's not obligated to learn Torah, but the igre the makrin no masnin benayu, the fact that she enables her children to learn mikra and mishnah. And she waits for they wait for their husbands to come home from the base medrash. Mile palgar and dadayu, don't we share the schar with them? So the schar of Torah that we're talking about over here is not the schar of Torah that she learns, because her Torah is not mitzvah v'esa. It's the schar of Torah that she enables and facilitates her children and her husband to learn. My parashas drachim. What does it mean when we say that if you reach the parashas drachim, you're saved from everything? What's parashas drachim in the nimshol? Rav Chisda is a Talmud Chacham b'yom misa. That's a Talmud Chacham when he reaches the day of death, and he remained on the straight and narrow. So now he knows for sure. We know for sure that he is b'seider. Mנחem bar Yitzchak says that Talmud Chacham b'yiras chet. That the parashas drachim refers to a Talmud Chacham who has yiras chet. Mar Zutra Amar is that Talmud Chacham, the Salak Leshmait, so leave the Hilchas. Mar Zutra says it means a Talmud Chacham who succeeds in getting his learning according to halacha. In other words, that his opinion is accepted in halacha. Davar acher, another pshat. Aveda mechabe mitzvah vein aveda mechabe Torah. An aveda can extinguish a mitzvah, but an aveda cannot extinguish Torah. Amar Rav Yosef said, Darish Mנחem bar Yossi lahikra ki Sinai. Rav Mנחem bar Yossi, who we quoted at the beginning of the Darish Mנחem bar Yossi kiner mitzvah v'Torah he did a fantastic job on it, like Har Sinai itself. If Deig and Achisayfel would have understood this pasuk, like Mנחem bar Yossi explained it, they would not have persecuted David. They would not have persecuted David. It says in the pasuk, they said after the sin, that coming from, please mute yourself. They said that after the sin of Bathsheba, the Eibishter has forsaken David. My daughters, which pasuk did they learn this from? It says, says that the Eibishter, if he sees an erbas davar by you, v'shav me'acharecha, he'll turn away from you. So since there was obviously an inyan over here, which wasn't the Seder in the story of David and Bathsheba, so therefore they said the Eibishter must have forsaken him. And since the Eibishter has forsaken him, they can pursue him and persecute him and everything will be fine. What they didn't realize is that an Aveda can extinguish a mitzvah, but an Aveda cannot extinguish Torah. And since David the Melech had the schus of Torah, so the Shechina remained with him, despite the fact that there were certain issues that could be questioned. What does it mean when it says, and if a person will give away the whole wealth of his house for Ava, he'll be ridiculed. Amar Ula, so Ula said, so basically we're understanding that means if a person wants to give away his entire wealth to buy the schus of Torah, he'll be ridiculed. Doesn't stand a chance. So Ula said, it doesn't mean like Shimon Achi Azariah, and it doesn't mean like Rabbi Yechanan the Bein Asiyah, but it means like Hillel v'Shevna. What's the story of Shimon Achi Azariah? Shimon Achi Azariah was a Tana who was called Shimon Achi Azariah. Why is he called Shimon Achi Azariah? Because he had a brother Azariah. Azariah was a wealthy man, and Azariah supported him. So Shimon learned Torah, and Azariah supported him. And they made a deal that Azariah is going to get half of the schar of Shimon's Torah. So since the deal was made in advance, before he learned the Torah, the deal was made that you're going to learn Torah, and I'm going to support you, and I'm going to get half the schar of your Torah, or the Rabbi Yechanan the Bein Asiyah, or Rabbi Yechanan of the house of the Nasi. In other words, he was supported by the house of the Nasi to learn Torah, and they got half of the schar of his Torah. When do we say Mitin Ish is calling Beisib Abba Beisio Beisulai? Like Hillel v'Shevna. What's the story of Hillel v'Shevna? When Abdimi came from Eretz Yisrael, he said, Hillel v'Shevna achuhav. Hillel and Shevna were brothers. Hillel asik b'Torah. Hillel devoted himself to learn Torah. Shevna abadiska, and Shevna went into business. Later, when Hillel became Agresa Achem and a big Gadol b'Yisrael, so Shevna and Hillel, we know, suffered tremendous learning Torah. Eventually, when Hillel became a big Gadol b'Yisrael, so Shevna, Seif Amarle, in the end, Shevna came along and he said to Hillel, let's mix together my Torah, my money and your Torah, and split it. I'll give you half my money and you give me half your Torah. So Abaskal came out and said, you came too late. If you would have come beforehand, then you would have offered to support Hillel through his struggles of learning Torah, that he shouldn't have to struggle, that you would have had a chaylik in his schar. But now that you come after Lachar HaMaisa and you want to buy off his Torah, there's no price that you can buy off Torah for. Yitin ish is kolhein beisev again, and if a person will give away his entire wealth, it won't make a difference. Again, you won't be able to buy Torah. Okay, we're turning over now to Amud Beis. The Mishnah says, Eimer ben Azai says, Chayiv Adam l'lamedus b'chulu. A person has an obligation to teach his daughter Torah, so that if she comes into a situation of a Sota who drinks Mei Sota and thinks that she's supposed to be punished by them, and she sees that nothing happened, she should know that it's the schus that saved her. Rabbi Lezer disagrees, and he says, that if a person teaches his daughter Torah, he's teaching her to be, as the Gemara is going to explain, he's teaching her a behavior which is not appropriate. Want to tell me that Torah is inappropriate behavior? It's as if though he taught her inappropriate behavior. My time at Rabbi Lezer says, what's the reason of Rabbi Lezer why teaching Torah leads to inappropriate behavior? Because it says in the pasuk, "Ani chachma shachanti arma." I am wisdom. I dwell with slyness. Once wisdom enters a person, so a certain slyness comes together with it. So because she's going to learn Torah, it's going to give her an armumis, and that's going to help her come up with all kinds of dreidlach that will enable her to behave in an inappropriate way. The Rebbe says that nowadays when girls learn Limudei Chayil, so the Armumis they have already from the Limudei Chayil. At least they should have the Torah to counterbalance it. V'Rabbanon hayani chachma may avdalei. So the Rabbanon then hold not like Rebbe Lezer and hold that it's permissible to
that it's not permissible to teach them Torah.
No, Rebbe Lezer says it's not permissible. The Tiflos, the Rabbanon who hold that it is permissible. What do they do with the pasuk ani chachma shachanti arma? Says the Gemara, they need it for the din of Rabbi Yosef Reb Chanina. The Amar Rabbi Yosef Reb Chanina, Rabbi Yosef Reb Chanina said, "In divrei Torah miskaymin el mishamayim atzmei orim aleim." A person's Torah only lasts if he makes himself naked on them. In other words, he gives himself away completely for Torah, doesn't need to provide anything for himself, and he devotes himself totally to Torah. Shenemar ani chachma shachanti arma. So we're touching the word arma here, not from the word trickery, but from the word orum, naked. Amar Rabbi Yechanan said, "Ein divrei Torah miskaymin el mishamesim atzmei k'misha einay." Torah will only last by a person who's mevatel himself, makes himself as though he is not. Shenemar, as it says, "V'hachachma me ayin timatze." Ayin is kilo einay. Chachma will be found where there is nothingness. Rabbi Shua Eimer Reitze Isha V'chulu. Rabbi Shua said that a woman prefers the kav v'tiflus mitisha kav v'nukrishus. Maika Amar. What does he mean? What is he saying? This is what he means to say. Reitze Isha b'kav v'tiflus imay. A woman would rather have only one measure of parnasa, and together with that, she will have her husband's company. Mitishas kabin, rather than to have 9 times as much parnasa, v'krishus, and they have to be separated from her husband. And the Mishnah said that he used to say that a chassid sheita and a whole list of things are mevali elam, they destroy the world. What would be an example of a chassid sheita? The Gemara again, the kataba itza benara. Like for example, if there's a woman drowning in the river, he's walking by and he sees that a woman is drowning in the river. So for what should he do? He should jump in and should save her. The Amar, and he says, it's not appropriate for me to look at her and save her. So he lets her drown in order that he shouldn't be nichshul in something which is hepech hatznius. So that is a chassid sheita. Heichadam rasha arum. What would be considered a sly rasha? Amar Rabbi Yechanan said, "Zehamatim dvarav l'dayin kedem shiyavi baldin chaverim." This is somebody who, when he's having a din Torah, he goes and sees the dayan privately, and he says to the dayan, "I just want you to have a little background on what happened over here before his baldin comes along." And so that's called a rasha arum, because once the dayan gets the picture of what happened from one side, it's very difficult for him to have an open mind. That's why the halacha is that by a din Torah, the dayan should have no information beforehand of what people are taining, and it's only by the din Torah itself. The 2 Baalei Dinim stand together, and each one puts forth their perspective in the presence of the other. Rabbi Bo says, "What's a rasha arum? It's a person who knows that there's a certain poor man that has 199 zuz. 199. He has. The din is that you're allowed to take tzedakah as long as you don't have 200 zuz. Once you have 200 zuz, you shouldn't take tzedakah. So this guy knows that this ani has almost 200 zuz. He's lacking 1 dinner. So what does he do? He goes over to the ani and he gives him the dinner to disqualify him from being able to take tzedakah. If not, we learned in the Mishnah, Mishi Yashlem Asayim Zuz, La Yitlek Shikhopeya Maiser Ani. If a person has 200 zuz, he shouldn't take leket shikhopeya and Maiser Ani. Hayolem Asayim Chaser dinner, but if he has 200 zuz missing a dinner, I feel elef neist like achas. Even if somebody offers him 1,000 at one go, how does a yitl he can take it? So in order to stop the ani from being able to take a elef bebas achas, he goes and he gives the ani a dinner to ruin it for him. That's called a rasha arum, a sly rasha. Rabbi Asi Amar Rabbi Yechanan. Rabbi Asi says in the name of Rabbi Yechanan, "Zehamasi eitza limker b'nechasim muatim." This is somebody who gives an eitza to sell nechasim muatim. What's the story of nechasim muatim? So the din is like this: a man dies, and he has sons and daughters. So the din is that the sons yarshin. But the daughters are entitled to what's called parnasa. They're entitled to an isur nechasim, to a tenth of the father's nechasim, so that they can use it to be married with. Yeah, if the father was alive, the father would spend from his money to marry them off. Father passes away, so we take a chelik of the father's money, the Yerusha, and we set it aside for the daughters. What happens if there's only a limited amount of money? So if there's a limited amount of money, be'etzim, the son's yarshin it. But since there's a chiyuv to give the daughters the money that they're going to need to get married, so you come along and you take that money away from the sons and you give it to the daughters. Now I'm saying money. It's not really money. It's nechasim. If the father has property, so the property is set. It has to be used to give the daughters the money that they need to get married. Now, what happens if before anybody comes along to take the property and sell it to give the daughters the money that they're entitled to, the sons go ahead and they sell the property, and now there's no longer property. There's only cash. From cash, the daughters don't have a right to take their parnasa. They only have a right to take from property. Only the property is meshubed. So the pashtus, the father dies, he leaves behind property. So the halacha is that the property is meant to be used to provide for the daughters if there isn't enough for the sons to yarshin and the daughters get what they need. But if the sons go ahead and they sell the property quickly before anybody has a chance to do anything, then the daughters lose out. So what happens if somebody hears, as Yankel is gestorben, and he knows that Yankel didn't have a lot of money, and he's friends with Yankel's son, so he runs quickly to Yankel's son, and he says, before anybody asks any questions, go and sell your father's property. So you won't have to give your sisters what they're entitled to. So a person who gives such an eitzah is called a Rosh Ha'ara. The Amar of Asi, Amar of Yechanan. Rav Asi said the name of Yechanan. Yisayimim shekadmu machru b'nechasim u'atim. If the Yisayimim, before anybody had a chance to take the property and set it aside for the daughter's parnasa, if they went and sold the nechasim u'atim, masha machru machru. The sale is on. The sale is a sale, and the daughters lose out. Abaye says, "Hamasi eitzel limker b'nechasim k'Rab Shimon ben Gamliel." It's talking about a person who gives an eitzah to sell the nechasim, like Rab Shimon ben Gamliel. And the Gemara is going to explain exactly what we're talking about. The Tanya we learned in the Braisa. If a man says to another person, "Nechasai lecha," when I die, my property should go over to you. V'acharecha leploini, and after you, it should go to so and so. So in other words, it means that when I die, my property should become yours, and when you die, it's going to go over to a third person. And that's what happens. Reuven, Shimon, and Levi we have here. Yeah, Reuven says to Shimon, "Nechasi lecha, v'acharecha leLevi." So when Reuven dies, the property becomes Shimon's. When Shimon dies, it becomes Levi's. But what happens? Yarat harishnu machar. What happens if Shimon went ahead and he sold the property? V'achal. And the money that he got for the property, he consumed, he spent. Yeah? So now Shimon dies and Levi comes along and he says, "Where's my property?" Right? I'm entitled to get this property when Shimon dies. Sorry, Shimon sold it. And the money that Shimon got for it is not around. So Hasheni meitzim yad al kuches. Divrei Rebbe. So according to Rebbe, Levi can go to the buyer that bought the property from Shimon. He can say, "Here's a chayim. This only belonged to Shimon as long as Shimon was alive. But the moment Shimon died, it becomes mine. So therefore, I'm taking it away from you. You can only buy it from Shimon for as long as Shimon was the owner of this property, or could have been the owner of this property. But once Shimon is no longer the owner of this property, it's not yours anymore." If Shimon Gamliel disagrees, and he says, "Ein l'sheni ela mashashir rishain." The second gets only what was left over when the first one died. So if you give an eitzah to Shimon to sell the property before he dies, so that Levi shouldn't get it, that's called a Rosh Ha'ara. Rav Yosef bar Chama says, this means somebody who points out to other people that they should emulate his ways. He says, "Listen, I'm a big tzaddik, so look what I'm doing, and follow my example. All he wants to do is claim himself to be very frum in eyes of other people, because he's a fraud, and he doesn't want people to pick up his abominations. So therefore, he tells them that he's a tzaddik, and they should emulate his ways. Rav Zrika Amar Rav Huna. Rav Zrika says the name of Rav Huna is a hamekel la'atzmei u'machmer la'achedim. It means that a rav, when you ask him a shaila, so if the shaila comes from somebody else, he's machmer. Same shaila comes from himself, and the gave it to him, he's mekel. That's called a rasha arum. Ula Amar, Ula says that shakara v'shana v'leishimish talmidei chacham. It's a person who learned Mikra, Chumash, and Tanakh, and he learned Mishnah, but he was never meshamish talmidei chachamim, and therefore he never got to learn what the reasons of the Mishnah are. And since he doesn't know what the reasons of the Mishnah are, so his Torah is not clear, because the reasons, if you know what the reasons of the halachas are, you're able to know when to apply it and when not to apply it. Mashenkin, this person knows the Mishnahs, but he was never meshamish talmidei chachamim to find out what the reasons of the Mishnahs are, and therefore he is a rasha arum. This concludes our shir for today and our block for today. Tomorrow is Friday. Did it work for everybody 2 o'clock last week?
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, Gershon is good for you?
Yeah, it's 4 o'clock. It's fine. Shabbos is 6:30.
Rabbi Gordon, does 3 o'clock work for you? Because I thought originally you were going to teach the Bacharim at this time.
On Friday, on Friday afternoon, I'm not teaching the Bacharim on Friday afternoon.
No. Every day of the week. 3 o'clock, it's only 10 o'clock in New York.
I've made it available to the Bacharim, and let me just start off the recording. I think it's still on. I'm not sure how to switch off the record.
No, just for me, 3 o'clock is very comfortable. I was just wondering whether...
It's close to Shabbos.
No, not Friday, every day of the week. Okay.
What will make a difference to you tomorrow? You're okay, 2 o'clock? Yes? Okay, so Be'ezus Hashem, Shleimer, 2 o'clock.
It should be fine for me too. Yeah.
Okay, so tomorrow...
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Seid gesund.
Call to.